Top 5 reasons I have not bought a 2019-2020 Ram. Hey, this gonna be a good one right here. Get your mind right. Next on the Hotshot Haven. Yeah, you heard me right. Mr. Go Get a Ram. Yeah, that's all I run. Top 5 reasons why I have yet to buy a 2019-2020 Ram. And it's real simple with me, being from that industry. So, I got some real reasons why. And I know you've seen some videos from some people that showing some reasons why. And this was the reasons why I didn't buy it. Because I know some stuff. And I'm finna help y'all learn some stuff. Check this out. Starting out at number 5. No more manual transmission. Now, that might not mean nothing to a lot of y'all, but for people that are enthusiasts and purists that like the manual transmission, I like the convenience of the automatic, but I do have a manual truck, and it's actually a better truck for pulling, to be honest with you. And you can modulate how hard that gear kicks in and this and that and the other, which brings me to the second part, the electronics. Okay, that's number 4. Number 4, we're going to keep this in order. Number 4, the electronic system. Okay, like I said, years ago, Mercedes, Daimler, Chrysler. The Daimler in Daimler Chrysler is Daimler Benz. And, like I've shown you before, you know, with these keys, what I'm saying? It's a very similar setup. And that's because they collaborated on a lot of work in the early 2000s, what I'm saying, and mid 2000s, and it manifests itself into tipper modules in the earlier third gens and different issues with integrating those new technologies into fairly new truck, new setup. And this was done to help with the self-diagnosis, because if y'all are familiar with Mercedes, y'all know that these systems are redundant and they are closed loop systems where all modules must communicate in a certain way for this truck or this car, this vehicle to perform as it should. And those calibrations need to be exact, and right now they're not. A lot of reprogramming going on, a lot of reflashing going on via the dealership, which is costing you time and money. You know what I'm saying? Which brings me to number 3, the engine calibration. Now, I know y'all have seen probably in the last 6, 8, 10 months, maybe a year, where you get a lot of pictures, a lot of posts on the internet with people with rods thrown out the side of the block. And 8 times out of 10, it's a commercial duty truck, as in a 4500 or a 5500. And you know what I'm saying? You gotta blame the calibration, you gotta blame some fault in Cummins, but to be honest with you, just like I told y'all a bunch of times before, it ain't but really 2 ways to do this. If you gonna pull light, 10,000 or less on the deck, go non-CDL. If you're going to pull heavy and get some serious weight going where you grossing 38, 39, 40, 45,000 pounds every day, get your semi. Because the reason why this calibration is the way it is on these engines is to try and save these engines from people that are just clearly, overworking the truck in a lot of cases. And that's not all cases. Some of this stuff have been catastrophic failure with light to little to no load on the engine. But to be honest, the reason that these engines in 4500 and 5500 are calibrated with less horsepower and it comes in at a different RPM is due to the calibration on the engine. And what it's doing is they're trying to make the most cylinder pressure possible to give you the torque curve that you want without blowing the engine up. So they look at what you should be doing with the truck and calibrate the engine to protect itself up until a point where, okay, I'm at 32,000 pound gross and said the truck can pull 35, but we gonna calibrate to where it's really safe up to 35, but not every single day. And over time, that wears on an engine. Being at 100% load 100% of the time, i.e., pulling over 35,000 with these trucks, cross country with trucks that are geared. Think about this rear end gear, 488s, 410s. 410 is pretty reasonable. 488s, 456s, that's not geared for cross country running. Unless you're gonna go 55 across the country. So, like I say, with high cylinder pressure and excess load, that actually multiplies the cylinder pressure and the amount of pressure that's felt at the crank, the rods, and the piston, all that reciprocating mass. So you end up with a ride outside the block. And I actually had a couple of partners that chose to try and slip past the system and run a little off-road diesel in that truck. Y'all, please don't do that. Off-road diesel has high sulfur content. It's going to screw with your emissions, but not only that, it burns way hotter. Like the stuff in your engine, the calibration on those injectors and stuff is not meant to run off-road diesel. So the mixture is not right. The presumption of how this flame front is gonna travel is not the same with off-road diesel. This shit flash burns, it burns faster, it burns hotter, it produces more power, but at the same time, there's more of a risk of catastrophic engine failure from running this stuff. And plus, it's real illegal. If they dip your tank and see red on that thing, it's $10,000 fine. So FYI, that don't run that off-road diesel out here if you're high shot now. I'm just telling you. All right. Number 2, the trans calibration, particularly 6 to 8 RFE. Now, I have 13 RAM in the fleet. I have a 16 RAM in the fleet. Both of them have 6 to 8 RFE transmission. But what I have noticed, and I've driven both of the trucks back to back, that the 13, the trans tuning and the setup and the way it's calibrated is a little bit softer. Listen to me, it's a little bit softer in engagement, but all the apply pressures are the same. In a 19 to 20 model, 6 to 8 RFE, they went and made some internal changes to the valve body. They actually put a different type of boost valve in the transmission to turn up the line pressure, and they tightened up the engagements. They sped up the engagements, and they made the engagements more firm in order to, kind of mimic the shift characteristics of an icing, which is an extremely heavy-duty transmission. Well, in the process of doing this, they've actually reached the limits of some of the hard parts inside the transmission. And if you're not familiar with hard parts, when I say hard parts, I mean things like drums, shafts, counter shafts, sprags, things like that actually have a mechanical link to each other inside the transmission. So when they don't jive, they break. They shear off, they break, and things like that, and throw the transmission into limp mode and different things like that. Then the calibration itself is so harsh on the transmission while it's pulling that I advise anybody that has that transmission in that truck, and when you pulling hills and stuff, pre-select the lower gear. Don't let that truck drop from overdrive to 5th gear under full load. If you have real gauges and you can see the load, the torque load, and the percentage of load on that engine, just know that it is huge. And I'm talking about, like, it's huge. Like, sometimes even when I forget to downshift before a heavy grade and it flares and goes back to 5th gear and that torque rise comes in at about 34 pounds, 36 pounds of boost, it's a nice hit on that drive line. So right now with that very fast engagement, amped up line pressure on that transmission, and some hard parts that have been upgraded but not quite to the level that they trying to do with the new engine calibration, with the new transmission calibration, and trying to get that truck to perform the way it needs to perform, they have missed the mark a little bit. They really have. And the number one reason why I have not bought a 2019 or a 2020 Ram 25, 35, 45, 5500 is because with any new product, there's always some back and forth, some figuring out to go on with the first set of customers. Now, it shouldn't be like that, but it just is. You got guys, if you look back, the 604 is a great motor when you're bulletproof. The .44. It really isn't a good motor in any case, but there are some people that swear by it. But you got to understand that most of those engines, 6.4s, came out with people having 2 to 3 engines replaced in their truck by the time they made it to 120,000 miles. So like I say, it's one of those things where manufacturers put things out and it may not be as thoroughly tested as it needs to be under these real world conditions. That's why you always give a manufacturer at least 2 years with a total new redesign. This is I'm not gonna say a clean sheet redesign, but it's a whole lot of stuff that got changed, from the graphite block, which is not a problem, to the transmission tuning, which is a problem, to the new body mounts and engine mounts and isolators and noise cancellations devices that are used on the frame and the chassis of this truck that also present another area to have a mechanical failure in the future. You know what I'm saying? But that's with any new truck. With all these new technologies, you're gonna have a whole lot of new stuff on the truck. And like I say, it takes some time for the manufacturer and the service department to catch up with all the new stuff. And like I say, this stuff is still in like production. Like this is real big on the assembly line right now. So parts are scarce. If you need an engine, shout out one of my homeboy that fuck with it with them cars on YouTube. He went and bought him a rig just because he blew the motor up, and you ain't gonna get no motor next week. You gonna get a motor in about 6 weeks because they gotta pull one off the assembly line to accommodate you. You know what I'm saying? And this is under warranty. In the meantime, the factory is concerned about getting production made so they can make their number, so they can fill whatever quota they have. So your engine being necessary for you to keep going in business is not their top priority. They're going to get that engine out of the line when they see fit to get that engine out of the line, ship it to the dealership, and you're going to get it when they feel like you're going to get it. And you know, that's anything with any parts, stuff like that, that's brand new edition stuff. When it fails, you got to wait on it. So that's one of the things, downtime. But along with number one, the number one reason I say I haven't bought a 2019 and a 2020 Ram is because it's too many very, very low mileage, some of them still brand new on the lot, 2018 Rams. I just feel like it's a little bit more tried and true, and it's the same reason why when I started my business I went with a 06 59, because that was one of the last years of that engine in that truck. Whatever the bugs that were in it, they should have had it worked out by then. I didn't go out and buy a 2008, 2009, 2010 6.7 Dodge, even though it was the exact same body style as my 06. It looked the same, it had an exhaust brake, it does all that stuff. But if you research the development of these products, these engines over time, you notice that this stuff comes out, few stumbles and bumbles, they fix it, they come out with another version, same engine, a little bit different tweaks, and you'll notice that from 07 and 08, 09 6.7 that was seizing the pistons in the number 6 bore and having catastrophic engine failures, when they came back and put a new hone job on that cylinder, rerouted some cooling and got some cooling back there to the back of their head, everything changed for the better. But during 07, 08, and 09, there were millions of customers that complained about this stuff. It's 100,000 people that had that piston seize up in that wall and knock a hole in the block. This some of the same way that Notorious, I think it's a 52 block on that 5.9, became notorious, because they found out as time went on that block cracks. You get a 53 block. I think I got a 53 block, whichever one the strong one in my 5.9. I looked at it before I bought the truck because of the research. So like I say, there's a reason why when those truck first came out and I was eligible to get one, and everybody and their mama was sending me paperwork on like, we can give you one with nothing down, and you know to be this, we at least you one, we don't care, we just come get one, we got all these on the lot. I was like, let me research this truck, let me see what they using now, the changes they made, and see if this is an all new truck or a mid-year refresh or a mid-cycle refresh. And indeed, this is not a mid-cycle refresh. This is a redesign of most systems on this truck, and most of the systems that they have redesigned and improved are main systems. So until they get that right, probably 2022, that's when I buy like a 2021. I'm gonna skip all over the 19s and 20s because get what? In 2020 and 2021, them 19s and 20s gonna be on the lot, 0 mile, with the same problem they got right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not often that you get a car or a truck that has 0 miles on it that was on the lot and they sent out a service bulletin. Unless it was a widespread thing, they didn't go out there on the lot and change them parts on their truck unless it was a safety issue. They wait on the customer to buy that car and get that thing into the warranty system and do what they have to do. Now, sometimes I say this, manufacturer will send out bulletins. Like when I was working for GM, they sent out a bulletin. Hey, we forgot to plug up the last light in the back of all the Yukon Denali XL trucks. Brand new. It was like 2014. Had to drop the headliner, move the interior out the way, and drop all that stuff down with trucks fresh. I mean, these trucks were fresh off the car hauler, and we take them in and run a PDI on them, and we go drop the interior and the headliner out the top of it, to undo all the TVs and everything they got up in there, just to hook up this one wire they forgot to do. That's a different thing. But this stuff ain't, oh, we caught it. Nah, this stuff is, oh, you gonna catch it. So like I said, that's my top 5 reasons why I have not bought a 2019, 2020 Dodge Ram. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I'm doing and you should do what best fits your business. And right now, by the research, 2019, 2020 Ram, it don't fit the bill because I had less trouble out of the Ram that's outside. That got 290,000 miles on it, gonna still be running. After that 19 and 20, from what I see, only play they running to the dealership. So hey, it is what it is. Kind of a sad day for the Rizam, but at the same time, we ain't gonna hold no punch back. I always keep it 100 with y'all, and I'm gonna continue to do that and until they get their shit right. I'm like, hey man, don't buy that truck. And you know what I'm saying? I said it a long time ago. Don't buy that truck. I said that. Even though I do ramp, I don't buy that truck. I said don't buy that truck. But at the same time, ain't no I told you so. But them my top 5 reasons, man. Peace and love, man. Y'all keep that hustle going. Y'all keep the wheel turned the right side down. Hustle, 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 hustle. And y'all know what I say, man. Fuck a hater. For real. Let them motherfuckers be what they gonna be. Do what they do. Cause that's their job. Let them folks have their job. Get what? One thing about it, we on some real shit out here. And I got a question. If you do all the crime, what the baby job gonna be?